Reports say Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has told ministers he will seek to fully occupy the Gaza Strip. It's a notable shift in tone from the Israeli government, which has so far maintained that its main goals were to defeat Hamas and free the hostages held in Gaza, not full occupation of the Strip. Last month, Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar told Euronews that his country had no intention of occupying Gaza long term. It comes as many Western countries, including France, the UK, and Canada, have moved to recognize a Palestinian state. Israel has recently faced increased scrutiny from its allies over its conduct in Gaza, amid a worsening humanitarian crisis that has left the population on the brink of starvation. Netanyahu rejects Palestinian statehood and has vowed to maintain open-ended control over occupied Palestinian territories, including Gaza and the West Bank.
The EU and Western leaders have expressed outrage over recently released videos showing two Israeli hostages in Gaza appearing emaciated and distressed. UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy condemned the footage as sickening, saying the images of hostages were being paraded for propaganda. French President Emmanuel Macron called the videos a reflection of Hamas's abject cruelty. Macron stressed France continues to fight for their release, a ceasefire, and increased humanitarian access, while German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said he was appalled, reiterating that the release of all hostages must precede any ceasefire agreement. The wide condemnation comes after the Palestinian militant group Hamas released footage and images of two Israeli hostages amid growing pressure on both Hamas and Israel to allow urgent humanitarian access. Rom Bryslavsky and Eviatar David, who appeared pale and emaciated, were abducted on October 7, 2023, during the deadly attack by Hamas on southern Israel, sparking the current war in Gaza. At least 1,200 people were killed and 251 hostages were taken, many of whom have been released. Bryslavsky and David are among the 20 hostages still thought to be alive in Gaza.
"68 African migrants were killed after a boat traveling across the Gulf of Aden capsized on Sunday. Over 70 others are missing, according to the head of the UN's Yemeni mission of the International Organization for Migration. The vessel, which was carrying 154 Ethiopian migrants, sank off the coast of the southern Yemeni province of Abyei. Only 12 migrants aboard the ship survived the accident as search and rescue operations to locate survivors continue. The UN says the bodies of 54 of the migrants confirmed dead washed ashore in the Khanfar district. The migrants were hoping to cross the Gulf of Aden and make their way to wealthy Gulf Arab countries in search for a better life. The UN says migrants are often taken by smugglers aboard overcrowded vessels, making dangerous trips that have killed hundreds. In March, 2 people were killed and more than 185 others were missing after 4 boats capsized off the coasts of Yemen and Djibouti. The UN agency says more than 60,000 African migrants arrived in Yemen in 2024.
Russia launched several drones at Ukraine's Odessa and Dnipropetrovsk regions overnight, injuring several and resulting in widespread damage. In Odessa, the strikes triggered large-scale fires, severely damaging a disused dormitory, a private home, and the city's electronics market. Several kiosks selling electronics and household appliances were destroyed. Firefighters, along with volunteers, managed to contain and extinguish the fires. No casualties or injuries were reported. Meanwhile, in Dnipropetrovsk, 3 people were injured, including a 4-month-old baby, local media reported.
Boeing workers at the company's fighter jet production plant in Missouri and Illinois went on strike on Monday after around 3,200 workers rejected a 4-year labor agreement. The strike threatened to delay the timeline for the 6th-generation F-47 fighter jet, a project backed by U.S. President Donald Trump.
The latest is our members today spoke loud and clear, and they're not happy with Boeing's last, best, and final offer. And so that's led to what we're doing tonight.
The workers last week rejected an earlier proposal put forward by Boeing, which included a 20% wage increase over 4 years. The aerospace giant said it was disappointed union members rejected its latest proposal. Boeing has been in hot water in recent years after 3 high-profile passenger jet crashes killed hundreds of people in Indonesia, Ethiopia, and most recently in India. Trump has tried to resuscitate the former industry leader by weaving in the purchase of Boeing commercial liners into a recent tariff deal with the European Union. India and the Philippines staged their first ever joint sail and naval exercises in the contested South China Sea from Sunday to Monday. The high-profile military deployment is likely to provoke China, which has laid claim to the majority of the waters. When asked, Filipino Armed Forces Chief of Staff Romeo Brona said the exercises had so far been successful and drawn no immediate response from Beijing. China claims the majority of the South China Sea, which borders the Southeast Asian mainland, as its own territorial waters, despite conflicting claims over parts of the waterways by Malaysia, Brunei and Taiwan.
Portugal entered the second day of a state of alert due to high temperatures. In São Martinho de Anta, in the district of Villarreal, dozens of nursing home residents were evacuated due to the fire threat.
Tiramos todos os utentes do lar por uma questão de precaução, por causa do fumo e das faúlhas.
The greatest concentration of resources were used in Villarreal, with over 300 firefighters and 121 land resources. At the beginning of Sunday evening, its mayor said that the firefighters were exhausted.
Foi minutos.
Ao pé de sua casa.
Mesmo por cima, mesmo ao meu lado, a tua casa, as lâmpadas passaram por cima.
A minha casa está lá em cima. E eu ainda não sei como é que ela está, porque tive que fugir.
Quem é que lhe disse para fugir?
Eu, porque vi as chamas muito próximas.
Eu vi um inferno ali, naqueles prédios. Ou aquilo foi em segundos. Aquilo parecia que levava tudo à nossa frente. Não havia nada, se não fossem os bombeiros ajudar-me e a gente, ficávamos sem nada.
Local authorities said the wildfires burned several farms, as well as surrounding scrubland, pine trees and eucalyptus.
Deixar que o fogo acalme, que isto passe, para depois retomarem cada um às suas casas e assim não ficarem animais para trás, nem acorrentados, nem esquecidos. Já retiramos coelhos, já retiramos galinhas, já retiramos gatos e já retiramos cães.
The state of alert in Portugal will last until Thursday, with high temperatures, particularly in the north of the country.
Romania's government said on Monday that it will use an EU support package to help people affected by flash floods that left at least 3 people dead in the country's northeast. The aid consists of amounts between 3,000 and 5,000 euros per case, which will be granted after damage assessments have been carried out. Bucharest will also activate the EU Solidarity Fund, through which Romania can access hundreds of millions of euros for the reconstruction of the areas. But this money will only arrive in a few months, according to the Romanian Prime Minister. In Suceava alone, approximately 78 million euros is needed for the reconstruction of the city of Brosteni and other affected localities. At least 3 people were killed when torrential rainstorms hit Romania in late July. Hundreds were forced to leave their homes as rescue services deployed in Nemt and Suceava. Some 680 homes were affected by the flash floods, which destroyed 41 houses, according to local media reports.
Some lawyers and politicians in Germany are becoming concerned that freedom of expression is being restricted. They say state-funded reporting centers established to combat online hate too often misjudge opinions for hate. In isolated cases, citizens have reportedly been victims of police raids for posting memes critical of the government. 2 such NGOs are now so-called trusted flaggers. Under the EU's Digital Services Act, they're supposed to remove illegal content from the internet. But lawyers say they see too many connections to politics.
Trusted Flagger sind deshalb umstritten, weil sie halbstaatliche Organisationen sind, die mit staatlichen Mitteln zumindest zum großen Teil finanziert werden und die letztlich darüber entscheiden, jedenfalls de facto entscheiden, welche Äußerungen im Internet legal sind und welche nicht legal sind. Das ist eine Form von staatlicher Zensur, man kann es Wahrheitsministerium nennen.
Es ist absolut nicht in Ordnung, diesen Weg weiter zu gehen, Trusted Flagger, Privatunternehmen sozusagen zu beauftragen, durchzuforsten, was im Internet erlaubt ist und was nicht. Da stehen nicht nur ich dem sehr skeptisch gegenüber. Da weiß ich auch, dass es viele auch in der Fraktion tun.
Some politicians in the governing CDU don't want to continue commissioning these trusted flaggers, indicating a possible government dispute.
Es geht darum, aus unserer Sicht, dass die Plattformen und Social Media kein rechtsfreier Raum sind, in dem justiziable strafrechtliche Dinge passieren, wie Hetze, wie Verleumdung, wie Bedrohung, wie Mobbing. All diese Dinge sind sehr ernst zu nehmen. Und deswegen hat die Kommission ja das Instrument der Trusted Flagger etabliert, um diese illegalen, strafbaren Inhalte auch meldefähig zu machen. Gelöscht wird gar nichts. Das ist ja eine Kritik, Zensur und Löschung durch die Trusted Flagger. Die Trusted Flagger melden auf Basis der Leitlinien und der Gesetzgebung und die Plattformen entscheiden und prüfen.
Also diese Diskussion wird geführt werden, definitiv. Ich bin in der DDR groß geworden. Ich sehe das sehr, sehr skeptisch, dass man auf diese Art und Weise Portale schafft, Möglichkeiten schafft, dass jeder jeden irgendwie anzeigen kann.
The coalition agreement states that false statements of fact are not covered by freedom of expression. Germany is also further ahead than other countries with trusted flaggers. 14 EU countries still haven't appointed them.